Welcome back to another foot patrol, another guided tour, and today we're in Scarborough, which is on the Redcliffe Peninsula, in the city of Moreton Bay, which is about 40 k's, maybe 50 k's north of the Brisbane CBD, and we're looking south here. So we're on Landsborough Avenue, Landsborough, and about 600 or 700 metres up the road there's a roundabout on the corner of Donkin Street, Donkin, and that's where Oxley Avenue starts, Oxley, which runs almost the length of the peninsula. Takes you all the way down to Woody Point. Now we're in Scarborough. It's a seaside suburb, and always been a place that's pretty expensive, but it's very quiet up here. It's at the northern end of the peninsula, and it's neighbours to the south of the suburb of Redcliffe, and to the west the suburb of Newport, where the Newport Waterways are. And it's very quiet down here, nice beach. You're a long way from any main roads, and it actually takes quite a bit of time these days because of all the lights to get to the other end of the peninsula. And if you were to leave here driving, it's probably going to take you 15 minutes to get to the bridge, which takes you off the Redcliffe Peninsula and into the city of Brisbane. And if it was busy, as in peak time, school time, or morning rush time, you could be looking at longer than that. So we're just going to do a walk around, and I'm going to show you. I used to live at Unit 1, Number 2, Landsborough Avenue, which is back up this way, for some time, and then at Unit 4, Number 2, in the complex that is called Gallantapa, Galantapa, which was owned by a builder and his wife, and they lived in Unit Number 5 at that complex. So we're on the corner of Anderson Street. I'll show you there, and this is kind of the start of the little shopping strip, and we're going to work our way up to Rock Street, ROCK. And I also lived at, I think it was Unit 2 in Number 4 Rock Street, which no longer exists. It's gone. It's now a big block of units, but so I've spent a fair bit of time, particularly in that park over there. I'm sure there's a few of my frisbees and balls, and maybe even a boomerang up in that very large tree. But anyway, we're just going to work our way along. I'm going to tell you what I can remember based off the top of my head. I haven't gone doing crazy amounts of research, or that's not the way I make these videos. I go off the top of my head if possible, and if I need to, if there's an important date or the name of a business that I've forgotten, I will use Google Maps, or I'll use ask somebody I know who might know a bit more of the history. So it is a Sunday morning, about 9 o'clock in October 2025, and it is pretty quiet down this end of town. You've got the Redcliffe markets happening on Redcliffe Parade, which it shuts off the whole Redcliffe Parade, and is always pretty busy, and I guess detracts from the number of people that are down at this end of the peninsula. But it is in my opinion, a bit of an underrated part of the peninsula. So this first place here is called the Boat Shed. Been here for about 20 years. Little takeaway shop, and prior to that was a place called Warren and Jim's fish and chip shop, all sort of frozen sort of stuff. And when I lived down here, delivered a whole bunch of pamphlets for them, flyers about their shop when it opened. It changed hands. I can't remember what the name was before then, but it changed hands to become Warren and Jim's. It used to be painted yellow, and I handed out several thousand flyers around the area for them, to help them, people's awareness of their business. Next place here is a Vietnamese place. Viet House, Redcliffe. Just going to walk a bit further up. There's some people there. And just swivel around. So this place here used to be called Enchiladas. So it used to be a Mexican kind of joint, but it's been gone for some time, and it had that really over the top colour scheme, yellow and blue and red and all that sort of thing. Sort of long gone now, Vietnamese place. A few shops here that have been renovated, financial advisors, hairdressers, all that sort of thing. New developments. None of these high rises were here when I lived down here. Definitely no high-rise buildings. It was a fairly sleepy sort of joint when I was here, but seems to have some very popular cafes here now. Every time I come down here it's busy. It's called The Landing. G'day. Just move away from the music, and look back at these couple of buildings here that is now the cafe, and looks like a real estate agency maybe, place, real estate, and this used to be a small one-level block of shops here. One thing that's really interesting about this part here is there used to be a movie theatre here, movie theatre slash theatre, and I remember walking past it a very long time ago and thinking that at some point it would have been heaving with people, but yeah, it was very run down at that point, and it became an art gallery and a sort of second-handy, antique-y sort of shop. And didn't seem to do that well, but still had that foyer of a movie theatre, and extremely dark inside. There were other shops here as well, coffee shop, and so forth. Also real estate. There was a real estate agent here, and a little cafe which didn't seem to do that well, and a laundrette, so a laundry, washers, dryers, all that sort of thing, which service the local area. Now it's luxury apartments going up maybe 10-12 stories. Next business here is the Four Square, I think it is. Friendly Grocer it is. I'll just swivel around. Friendly Grocer used to be Four Square, and this place has been here for decades, and used to be owned by the Daher family, spelt D-A-H-E-R. Used to be mum, dad and a couple of kids that ran this little place here. And this is a bit unique, this little building here, because it's the only one left between a whole lot of new developments. So back up to where we were talking about the little Viet House and used to be enchiladas. All the way from that down to here, and then from here down to almost as far as you can see is all brand new, well not brand new but it's new, last 10-15 years of apartments. And this one here, see if I can go back, is the only sort of old school building in the middle of all these apartments. You can see them all there and here. Okay, it's the only one left, and that's what this whole place was, about that level. Sometimes the shops would have little accommodation above, or the owner would live above, or it'd be rented out. Not anymore, it's all gone. This little bit here, this is 85 Landsborough Avenue, so it goes down maybe 25 metres, maybe 30 metres. It's called Majellan. And this, I've got a lot of memories from this little bit here. This little area here. There it is there, Majellan. Lots of tenancies, empty tenancies. I don't think these have ever had tenants. And looks like they're ready for someone to move in. Nick Casamidas, I think, is of the newsagents somewhere around Redcliffe. I think him and his dad, or his dad owned a newsagent around Redcliffe somewhere, now working in real estate. Area is pretty reasonably well serviced by public transport, so it's not like you're cut off from everything when you're down here. Just going to wait for this bus to go past because of the noise, and then we'll talk about what I know about this spot where I'm standing right now.
Bit of action.
Hey?
Bit of action.
Just making a vlog.
There you go.
I'm documenting Redcliffe history. I think he was excited till I said the history bit, and then he wandered off. Okay, so yeah, this bit here, 85 Landsborough Avenue rather. Used to be a couple of houses. There might have been more, but it looked like two very large houses. And I remember, or it could have been units actually. It could have been multiple dwellings within the one building or something like that. And one of them was really interesting because it looked like it had some hippies living there. They always had their style of clothing out the front and the way they decorated the place. So that was up this end, this half, and then down this half there was a podiatry place that had been here for years, that had been here forever. I've never actually seen anyone go in there, but it was always open when I went past. And g'day, and yeah, long gone now. $2022, g'day mate. 2022, this whole area was demolished, and we're now in 2025, and as you can see, you've got the very large apartment complex there. That's replaced the two little beach shacks and the podiatry clinic. Alright, we'll keep moving on. This next building's been here for a bit longer actually than 2022. Certainly been here longer than that. Pretty busy down here actually. Busier than I remember. Not stopping here because I don't recall much about that particular block, but I do remember quite a bit about this next area, which is the doctor's surgery. Scarborough Village Surgery. I'll just go past. Don't want to block the pathway. Scarborough Village Surgery here. I do remember quite a bit about this. So this building here used to be a video shop, the Scarborough Video Shop, and in the days of VHS videos and probably the second wave of console games, and you used to be able to rent, I'm certain it was $5 for a night for a new release DVD. Well, I guess in those days it probably would have been a VHS, but and then about the same for a game cartridge. And also in this place you could pay, I'm pretty certain it was $2 for half an hour, something like that anyway, to play their consoles. They had consoles inside and you could play them for a small fee, of course. So it's pretty popular with the local kids. And I think, if my memory serves me correct, we didn't pay our bill or something, and or didn't return the tapes on time one time. Some guy came around to the house wanting us to pay. So it goes right round to here, and this is the area actually round the back here where the consoles were. So you had all the DVDs and, or probably it was tapes then, but nevertheless, all the movies round one side, and then through these doors here was the consoles. These have always been professional offices in here. They had, in this building here, they had, it's called the Scarborough Business Centre. I don't know if it's always been called that, but they had engineers there when I was living down here. Many years. Across the road you've got the Scarborough Physio. Scarborough Physio and Health has been here for, I would say, 15 years. I did write that down actually. Oh no, sorry, what I should have said was that the doctor's surgery back across the road there, 2010 it started. And it had sat vacant for some time before that. And on that note, this place here, early 2010s, owned by a guy called Nick Schuster, who owns this one, Scarborough Physio and Health, and also the new Newport, is it called Newport Physio and Health? Something like that. So he's got two. But I distinctly remember this being a bank. It was a bank. It's still got an ATM here. I don't know if I don't think it had an ATM then, because I don't think ATMs were around back then, but this used to be a bank. Excuse me, mate. Are you a local?
Yeah.
How long have you lived in Scarborough?
5 years.
Oh,
6 years.
you wouldn't remember this being a bank then?
No.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it used to be a bank, and I distinctly remember coming down at one point on a Friday afternoon, and because the banks weren't open weekends obviously, and seeing people lined up getting cash. Anyway, now Scarborough Physio and Health. There is the Scarborough Physio and Health. Next building here used to be the post office, so we'll just go past it and then swing around. Looks like it is now Barber, Pilgrim Barber. Actually, that's the name of the builder that used to own the apartments or the townhouses at number 2 Landsborough Avenue was Pilgrim. That was the people's last name. Anyway, this used to be the Scarborough Post Office. for many, many years. Not sure if it was owned by Australia Post or if it was a licensed outlet, and it's been replaced by this place. And this little clothing store used to be all one. Yeah, bit of history. Got a chemist here. Has been a chemist for a while. It wasn't always laid out like this though. It was set back a bit further. Set back a bit further from the street that I remember. Got the Scarborough Park across the road. Always popular with the kids. And there's some trees in there that have been there for decades that kids get up and climb in. A couple of interesting other observations about this area. So real estates, Maddies, Hermans real estate. So I'm not exactly sure of Maddie, but Maddie used to work, if my memory is correct, at there's Maddie there. He used to work at Hermans real estate, which was located in Margate and was demolished for the creation of the Sebel, S-E-B-E-L development on the Margate waterfront. So that used to be Hermans real estate. You had the real estate on the ground floor, sales and rentals, and then you had some accommodation in the second floor. It was falling apart. We rented a property, and that was the agency. I remember going down there with $120 to pay a week's rent, and now I think it might have she might have taken it over or something, and then it's become Century 21, so it's become a franchise of another. Hermans was a independent real estate agent here in Redcliffe. The next place, 103 Landsborough Avenue, is a podiatrist. I'm not actually sure whether this is the same one. I have a feeling it might be the same one that used to be down, that shut in 2023. Just going to walk over and get some shade because I'm feeling the sun. I don't know whether it's the same one that used to be further down, but it used to be a newsagent. This used to be a newsagent, and for a short space of time I delivered some papers, some Sunday papers for them, and got paid a pittance. It was an early morning job. Deliver the Sunday paper and then basically spend all the money on junk food inside the shop. I think that might have been the business model, but I'm not sure. Next location is the pathology. I'm just going to walk a little bit further afield. SNP, Sullivan Nicolaides Pathology. And sorry, something I should have added when I was further back was the newsagent, both the newsagent and the post office shut in 2016, so almost 10 years ago now. This little place here used to be called Happy Dragon Chinese, and it had been here for decades. And I distinctly remember it when you walked through the front doors. You turn left and there was a little seating area and a TV, and then when you turn right, you had the Woks kitchen, open kitchen. and pretty popular. You can still see the remnants of the old tiling and everything. It was pretty run down in the end, but nonetheless quite popular, and typical suburban, outer suburbs kind of Chinese takeaway place. All the usual stuff. The next place is the Majellan Medical Centre, which I don't ever remember it not being here. I was a patient there, I guess, for a while, back a very long time ago. It's down there on the left. Pathology, it's been here for a fair while. So as you can see, a fairly mixed bag of shops. Pretty typical of a little outer suburban strip of shops. A bit more hospitality though because of the location. Okay, so continuing to move. This place here, before it was demolished, it's now called the Flame Seafood and Modern Indian. It's not always been that. It's had a few different owners over the years, and before this was demolished, so from about here wait for the bike to go past. So from about here up to I think roughly about here, you had a couple of shops. Maybe it was another 10 metres or so, maybe up to about here. You had some other shops. We'll just wait for this motorbike to go past. Which included an Italian place called Rabbitini's, and a couple of other little shops there, including a little fish and chip shop that had been there forever. And it was one of those sort of places where you would go in and you'd pay your money, you'd ask them for X number of dollars worth of chips and a couple of bits of fish and some potato scallops, and if you paid for 3 potato scallops you'd get 5 or 6. And I distinctly remember potato scallops being 40 cents each. Now this is the Scarborough apartments, so as you can see, pretty massive. Got the waves sort of on the front of them. Luxury apartments, and you've got a bunch of tenancies in the bottom here, including bottle shop, BWS, Japanese restaurant. Always seems to be pretty popular in there. BWS, bottle shop. Ray White real estate. Real estate up this end of the peninsula is very expensive. It's rightfully so too. It's a nice quiet bit of the peninsula. You've got a Marvel themed fish and chip shop here called Marvellous Fish and Chips. I'll just go up and check it out. It's closed at the moment. It's too early, I think, for it to be open. But here's the apartments, the Scarborough apartments. And you got your Marvel themed fish and chip shop here. Marvellous Fish and Chips, pretty good actually. I always find their fish and chips pretty good. Much better than the ones on the Redcliffe waterfront, including Yabby Road. Always finds that's frozen mush. Australia Post obviously has moved. I've never actually been inside this one, and that's probably why I said that it closed. 2016, obviously it's moved now. Moved rather than closed. Ray White real estate. You're in the big time if you're buying up here. That is for sure. Now when you get up to this part, there's a gelato shop on the end. And we are actually standing where the Scarborough pub used to be. On the corner of Rock Street, ROCK, and Landsborough Avenue. So we're at the end of this little block of shops. Gelato store here. And yeah, this is where the Scarborough pub used to be. And I used to live at number 4 Landsborough Avenue, which is, we'll just go down here and you'll see how deep this development is. It's massive. Yeah, so this is where the old Scarborough pub used to be. I did do just a bit of superficial research just to remind me of some of the things with the Scarborough pub. First pub ever built in Redcliffe, first hotel, and it would have been in 1878 actually, and it would have been quite a mission to get from Brisbane in those days. This was a bit of a holiday destination up this area, and had a few different owners over the years. At one point it was damaged in some weather. Might have been a cyclone, a very small cyclone. And I used to live in number 4.
Of course I'm a Dolphins fan. I live in Redcliffe. Gotta be a Dolphins fan.
G'day, mate. Yeah, so this... Oh, it must have been number 3 Rock Street then. This place was always here. And I lived in used to be two sides to it, little duplexes, and this one, must have been in number 3. Must have been Unit 2, number 3, Rock Street, which is now called Spinnaker on Rock. So I used to live on that property there, and you can see how close it would have been to the back of the Scarborough pub. So the Scarborough pub, I think that's an 8,000 square metre block. So you would walk down here, and then where this fence is, fence here, would have been the back of the car park of the Scarborough pub, and it had a beer garden. So you could walk from here all the way through, you could walk all the way to the other end, and then out onto Landsborough Avenue near that fish and chip shop. Not the Marvel one, but the previous one. And they used to have a beer garden, so on Sunday afternoons they'd have a live band playing, and you'd be able to hear the music obviously from where we were. We were only 100 metres away, and yeah, a bit of a Redcliffe icon really. And I don't think there's any hotels left. The Ambassador's left as one of the originals. The Belvedere's left in Woody Point. Just had a massive transformation, renovation. The Palace Hotel is gone, which was also in Woody Point, which is apparently where the Bee Gees played their first gig. I don't get the Bee Gees obsession, but I understand other people do. Anyway, this used to be the Scarborough pub, and I think it closed in 2013, something like that. Nicola's Gelato, this place is called. There you go. Yeah, I think it closed in 2013, or it was sold. It might have been sold in 2013, and there is an information plaque down here, big information board. I'm not going to read it all or show it all, but if you want to come up and have a look, you certainly can. Anyway, it's a bit sad to see it sitting vacant. It used to have a nightclub in there, up on the 2nd floor, and I'm pretty certain someone got pushed through the glass one night and ended up on the car park. Scarborough Hotel. I won't show all the. Got some great images here though of the pub. I don't know how well they'll come out on the video. That's all. But we'll just do a quick summary of the information here. Yeah, 1878. Area was first explored by Matthew Flinders, 1799. Day trippers will come from Brisbane by steamboat, and World War II it was used as a base by the American Red Cross, and hotel closed in 2010, and 2016 they completed this development, which is 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, and they created this site here. I'm moving because it's boiling hot. That sign is going to need refreshing because it's all faded. Anyway, that's the development there, and it is sad to see the old Scarborough pub gone. And I've got a lot of memories from my time up here. I just want to show you one more thing. I did say we were going to look at the shops, but I just want to have a quick look at the beach and see if I can see something that's really interesting about this beach down here, other than the bush turkeys running around, which you can see. There they are. Is the concrete pads. I don't know whether they're still here. Because when we first moved here, we had a friend of a friend who lived in a caravan on this part, so none of this concrete or anything was here. It was pretty much, there was not even a pathway, I don't think. And people paid to live in caravans here, paid for caravan sites. And I'm happy for you to correct me about this if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly certain that at least some of these concrete blocks here were the caravan hard stands. So you have the caravan on one side, and then you'd have the we'll just go and have a look at one over here, because they're all different sizes. You've got one with one table and chairs, and then you've got one with two, and they're all kind of a bit skew width, and they're not exactly uniform. So I think that's my memory anyway. I could be wrong about that, and I'm pretty sure that those were the concrete pads for the hard stands for the caravans. And we had a friend of a friend who rented or leased one of those for $10 a week. I may be out with the numbers, but that's my recollection. And if you know something else, please let me know. Out to the east here you've got, or down to the south at least anyway, you've got the Port of Brisbane Airport. Out to the east here you've got Moreton Island and so forth. It's pretty popular down here for pretty calm waters here, for kids and everything, young families. Just come down here on weekends. You've got these ginormous, I believe they're Norfolk pines, massive trees here that are iconically Redcliffe. They're everywhere down on the Redcliffe waterfront. In fact, some of them were lost in the Cyclone Alfred. A couple of them down towards Sutton's Beach toppled over, and they were sadly missed, dearly missed. By the people of this area. Pretty nice down here. And there you can see that Scarborough development where the Scarborough pub was. Anyway, it's brought back a lot of memories for me. If you remember anything else, or I'm wrong about one of the things I said, let us know. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you've got any ideas for Redcliffe, places where I could cover, let me know. Alright, we'll see you on the next one.